How's it going? This is KLA Clyde the Wanderer coming at you. I have a lovely guest. Her name is Angela Noury. She's
Yep, that's
a
it.
she's a physique competitor, and she's gonna tell her story about how she became a bodybuilder. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Trying to enjoy the weather. So
Yeah, same here. It's finally nice out.
yeah. So so you from Rhode Island? Like, what's it like living in Rhode Island? I live in Brooklyn, so
So it's probably, well, I mean, weather-wise, it's not any different than that, I would say. It's just as, like, all over the place. Some days it's, like, 2 degrees, and some days it's 60. I think I describe Rhode Island as, like, the in-between of, like, New York and Boston. You kind of get the personalities of both combined, you know?
oh, okay, okay. I think I like one time I went on a trip and I went to Boston. I went to the Hall of Fame
Yep.
basketball Hall of Fame. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, so that's the only time I kind of know about Boston, but I never been to Rhode Island. Rhode
Yeah,
Island.
Boston and New York feel like two totally different worlds. To me, it
Yeah,
does, you know?
yeah. Okay. So you ever been like outside, been other state? Well, unfortunate, of course you have. You're a
Yeah.
bodybuilder, and you travel a lot.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
Yeah,
So
I've
how?
competed in like Pennsylvania. I've competed in Maryland. I've competed in South Carolina, New
Right.
York, New Jersey, Connecticut, um,
Mm,
Massachusetts. Yeah, I've been all over the place as far as competing. I've always lived in Rhode Island. Um,
no.
yeah, born and
Okay.
raised. Yeah.
Okay. So how you got started in bodybuilding?
Well, it started when I started working out when I was 11, at home, and so I just started doing things at home. I obviously had no idea what I was doing, but I just I would get my parents to buy me pieces of workout equipment for my birthday. So instead of getting like normal gifts, I was getting like little tiny like machines to put in my tiny ass bedroom. So then that's how it started. And then once I was old enough to join a gym, which at that time you had to be like 15, I had joined Bally's here in Providence, and I belonged there for like 11 years. But I was going there, started when I was 15, and it just like it escalated from there. I would only go like 3 times a week, and then I got into actually running. I did all sorts of different things at the gym. I got into boxing. I did wrestling. I did everything. I would say that I got into bodybuilding and the competing end of it when I was in my, I would say it was around my 23, 24 mark. And then it was just kind of like on a whim because I was always a gym rat, I guess you could say. So I was always there. I had a lot of people that were like offering to like help me just because they saw like my dedication and like my work ethic. So like trainers and different things like that would be like, here, let me show you something. So that's kind of how I learned how to work out. I was almost stealing exercises, watching other personal trainers to see how they would train their clients. It's like I was watching, if the trainer looked like they were like in shape and knew what they were doing, I would just like memorize it and use it. You know, I didn't necessarily know like what the exercise was for. I was just going by like simply that trainer looks like he knows what he's doing.
Mm,
So that's how I like learned how to exercise. Then I started working in gyms when I was 19. So anyway, I was working at a Planet Fitness actually, and one of my coworkers, she was a trainer. She's older than me. She was like, "You should compete." She was like in that circuit, so she was like a judge at certain shows and things like that. So she saw like my hard work, my dedication. I had no clue how to eat, nor did I have any interest to. I basically I worked out and I ran just so I could eat whatever I wanted, and at that time it
mm,
did work. Um, so then when I was 23, 24. That was when she had said that to me, and I was like, you know what? I was like, I'll try it. I can diet for, at the time I dieted for 8 weeks for my first show, and that was it. I was like, I can diet for 8 weeks, sure. Why can't I do that? So once I did it, I was hooked. Not only because of the transformation, but how fast you can make that transformation just by simply like eating correct, you know. And
mm,
that wasn't even like that's like the very very tip of the iceberg compared to like what I know now about competing. That was just like me like getting throwing myself into the fire just to try it with no real intention of keeping it going. I just wanted to try it one time, but once I tried it, I was like, man, that's like fun, and it's just like challenging, you know? So
Yeah.
just continue doing it, different organizations, different categories. It took me a while to find my the right organization I wanted to compete for and be successful in, and also which category I wanted to do. Partially because I'm so tall, I'm 5'11", so it takes a long time for a frame that's 5'11" to actually like fill out and be muscular enough to. And I'm not like a bikini girl, you know. I did do the bikini category at one point of life, but it just wasn't. It wasn't me. It wasn't my personality. So once women's physique came out and I saw that, I was like, that's what I want to do. But at the time when it came out, I didn't have like enough size, you know. So I transferred from bikini to figure, and now women's physique. So I did women's physique for the first time ever in 2021. I was planning on competing in 2020, but obviously COVID happened, and then every show got canceled under the sun. That wasn't a pro show, so at that point, at 2021, I hadn't competed in 2 years, even though I had competed from 23 basically until that time, at least once a year in some organization doing some kind of category. And then once 2021 happened, I dieted for the show in New York, Atlantic States, through Bev Francis. So I did that show, took the overall in women's physique, first time ever competing in women's physique, first time competing in 2 years. And then a couple weeks later, I did a show in Maryland, same thing. And then I did nationals a couple weeks after that. And then I got my pro card at nationals that year. So last year was my first year competing as a pro, and this is my second year competing as a pro. So women's physique is where it's at for me. So I love it.
Congratulations. You know, I could relate to you with like when you was younger, like you would like gain certain ideas from the fitness instructors and stuff like that. Cause I used to work out myself, and you know, I would like, you know, take the bodybuilding magazines. Well, really, yep. I would do like push-ups and all that stuff, and it took me a while, you know, to kind of I didn't really learn from nobody. I just learned from books. You know, I did like yoga and all that stuff, you know, and you know, do meditation and stuff like that. So I kind of relate to that.
Yeah, so it's not like what it is now. Like all people have to do now is go to YouTube or Google. They can go to Instagram and find a whole like 27 days worth of exercises. You know, like it wasn't like that back then. So
yeah. You used to like look at like the bodybuilders before and stuff, like Linda Murray or Corey Everson, or how did you?
Yeah, like at the time when they were around, I wasn't into it like I am now. But now now that there's more exposure for the sport in general, like you get to see a lot more people like that, you know, like you don't, I'm sure, because I used to be like, I'd go to the store and like read the bodybuilding magazines, like while my mom would shop, you know, that was when I was young. So like I probably was seeing these people at that point, but I just wasn't like, it wasn't clicking like who they were, you know?
Okay. So you said like on like during like I think the COVID era, well, it's still a COVID era, but like 2020, what was you doing? Like everything was closed. Like how did you dealt with that?
Oh, so fortunately and unfortunately, I had actually just started my own business at the end of 2019, and then everything started shutting down in March of 2020. So I was freaking out because I had just opened my business. So my business, I own a personal training facility. It's called Fit Source Rhode Island. So I do one-on-one personal training. I do online clients too, and I do meal plans, things like that. So I had just opened. So I was obviously freaked out about that because I'm like, I just started my business and it was like going really well those first like 5 months. And then COVID happened and I was just like, oh my God, I'm screwed. So what I ended up doing is I ended up switching the majority of my clients to FaceTime sessions. So I was still doing one-on-one. It's just I had to like work within like what they had at home, and it was so hard to get equipment back then too. So it's like these people didn't have equipment or any like even a set of dumbbells, you know. It was like all body weight stuff. Fortunately, I've been doing this longer. So I'm 37. I've been working out in a gym since I was 15. Within that time frame, I've taught group fitness classes. Like I said, I had boxing experience. I did wrestling. So there's all different forms of like working out that I'm like, I have experience in. So I don't necessarily need people to have equipment to be able to like give them a good workout. Obviously, I prefer it because like the bodybuilder in me wants people to like lift weights and lift heavy, you know? So because I am listed as a rehab facility as well, I didn't get shut down during COVID. So I was still able to operate my business. And fortunately, I had bought all my equipment prior to COVID happening. So I had gotten all, like, I already had a full setup while everyone else was scrambling, trying to make their home gyms. I already had my setup. So I trained, I stayed in my prep because no one knew how long like COVID was going to happen for. So I just kept on dieting because I was like, nothing's happening right now anyway. I'm not missing out on any like social events. I'm not missing out on anything. I may as well, like, while everyone was like gaining weight during COVID, I was like getting in shape. But I also had access to my studio, which I trained at my studio like 5-6 days a week, every single week, until COVID was done, and then the gym started opening back up. So, and then fortunately, because I did switch everyone to FaceTime, all my clients just started coming back in person once they felt safe or comfortable. Because like I said, I never had to shut down. It was more like, because I'm one-on-one, there's always just like me and one other person there. So as long as like we were keeping our distance and everything was staying sanitary, but it took some people to like come back to like from being like scared of it, you know, like once people were like realizing what it was and it's not as big of a deal as they're making it, then people started coming back and doing like their normal sessions. So fortunately, it didn't really affect. I'm still curious though, like if COVID didn't happen, how much more successful would my business have been? You know, if like that part didn't exist, if it just kept on like climbing like it was doing in the beginning before that stopped. I mean, I'm curious about it. I mean, now I've been doing it for over 3 years, almost 4 years, and it's still going strong. I'm just wondering if there would have been a difference had that not happened.
Yeah, I mean, there's people that I remember like there were like some fitness places ran out of business. So I don't know.
No, I know. It was that's exactly what I thought was going to happen to me, because there was other like, so my place is a studio. It's not like a full service gym, you know? So there was small places like mine closing like down the street from me, and I never had to do it. So I was fortunate when it came to that. So I'm actually in a bigger location now, a little bit closer to my house, but it's like triple the size of my original location. So I'm in a good enough spot where I can make a move like that at this point. So
yeah, because I mean I remember I've seen like I remember I was working out in the park and I would see a lot of people, you know, like bring their clients to the park and stuff. It was like every day, like I would say, like I think majority of the times I would see it like in a weekend all throughout. Like I seen it like maybe I don't even know how. Well, since COVID happened, and then you know they started slowly kind of opening stuff.
Right. I remember driving by like the bike paths and whatnot, like during the COVID when everything was shut down, and the bike paths were like packed. Like you couldn't even like walk on it, you know, because everyone was there, because that was the only way people were getting exercise was outside. So.
Yeah. So you did like wrestling and boxing and stuff like that.
So I always went to the gym, so I was always like, as far as lifting goes, I would go in and I would lift, but I wouldn't really have any like real direction. It was more like I almost did like a full body every time I went in there, you know. A lot of cardio. My endurance was through the roof. I used to run 10 miles a day and then box at night. I was lunatic. I would weight train too, but I didn't get like into the lifting, like hardcore lifting, until I was in like my not later 20s, but probably mid 20s, I would say, was when I was really starting to get into lifting. And it has gotten stronger and stronger like over the years. So like over the past 7 years, it's really when I've like focused more on that and less on the cardio, you know? But yeah, I used to do, so they call it professional wrestling, but it's actually like the WWE stuff.
Right.
Um, yep. So I did that for a little while, um, which was my dream as a kid or when I was younger was to be on the WWE.
Yeah.
So like my size and like being athletic and whatnot, like that's just I was like I belong on the WWE. So I started to get into it and I started to do like some like um, indie stuff, if that's what you want to call it, like backyard wrestling, if that's what you want to call it, like some smaller places. So I started to get involved with that. Um, the reason I stopped that wasn't because I didn't like it, was because I had to switch jobs, and my job made me be able to had me be second shift, and you could only do like wrestling things like that at night. So I couldn't make it to any more of the practices. So that's why that kind of like fizzled off. The boxing, that was just like extra supplementation to like the exercise I was already doing. I had made friends with the trainer at my original gym who had a background in boxing that used to train people like out of his house, and he
Mm-hmm.
eventually opened his own boxing place. So I boxed with him. I did the wrestling. Yeah, and then I got into the competing when I was 23 or 24. I think on
Mm.
my 24th birthday was when it started.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Like I know like there's bodybuilders that do like boxing and wrestling and stuff, but they do other things with it. You know, some do
Yeah.
sessions, some do
I don't now, to
MMA,
be
and
honest with you. I just do the bodybuilding now.
yeah,
I feel
yeah,
like a quarter of the athlete that I used to be, Like as far as like endurance and things like that goes.
yeah,
Because obviously when you're boxing and when you're running, your endurance is through the roof.
yeah, yeah. I
If I was
mean,
to
like,
try to do that now, I'd be winded.
so did you still run though, right? Do you
No,
like
I do
run?
not run.
Or
No. I do cardio, but I do low impact cardio.
so what was it like when you first did your first show?
Oh god. It was super scary. I remember that. Actually, the organization I did doesn't even exist anymore, and I don't remember what it was called. But I did like the bikini category in that organization. Um, yeah, it was. It's so funny to like look at the pictures of like my first show to compared to now. It's just like a different. I feel like a different human, but in every aspect. Like as far as like, I love getting on stage now. Like I didn't dislike it. Like my first show, I actually had a background in like dance and acrobats and whatnot. So I was
Right,
form on stage to like dance routines and whatnot. So I had experience of being on stage, but I'm much more comfortable being on stage now. And then also too, like I said, bikini is just not. It's just not my thing. It's like
right,
there's nothing wrong with it. It's just it doesn't fit my personality. It's not even about
right,
the look. It's about my personality. I just can't. I don't have that pizzazz that they have on stage, if that's the word you want to use for it.
right.
Um, so it was definitely it was interesting. I think I placed like fourth or something, but it
Mm,
wasn't like big. It wasn't a big show. It took me actually a long time to start placing good in shows. I didn't place that great in shows until I started women's physique.
mm,
Before that, leading up to, I would always place like within the top five and whatnot, but it was never anything like impressive. But
right.
I don't quit because I knew eventually I would get to where I would want to be, and I love to compete because I'm competitive, and I love having that goal, and I love having that drive to like you'd have that mission to just have that thing at the light at the end of the tunnel and just drive for it.
Yeah,
So I just kept on doing it. And then eventually I got to exactly where I wanted to be. It took a long time. I don't have the best genetics. I also like when I'm off season, I also like to have a life with my friends. I like that part of my life too. So I'm not like all bodybuilding all the time, but even in my
right.
off season, I'm 90% bodybuilder. I have
Yeah.
10% to do whatever I want. That's
How
how
do
I look
you
at it. That's how I find my balance.
Yeah. How do you retain all that information about like prepping and conditioning and symmetry? Cause me, I'm like the average Joe. Like I'm like outside that sport. And it's like certain things, like certain interviews or certain discussions, it be like you grasp a little bit, but it's like it's almost like a little a science. Like I don't know if I'm exaggerating or not,
No, no,
but
no. It is definitely a science, and it takes like the reason I like it so much is that I always describe it as science and art, right, mixed
right,
together, because you're
yeah,
building something that you want to look like.
right,
So it's fun, you know. So once you figure out the science, you figure out how to target certain areas of your body and what you want to improve upon and whatnot. That's the art part of it, and that's when you can like create the aesthetics that you're looking for.
yeah,
But then the science part of it, that's the part that people have a problem with because, I mean, people want to go to the gym and be like, oh, I can do it on my own. Well, how are you gonna do it on your own? It's like, how do you know how to do it? You don't,
yeah,
right? Usually,
right,
you need somebody to show you, or teach you, and then as you go, and the more and more you get into it, the more and more you learn, and you make it your life, and then it just becomes second nature. And then at the same time, you're also learning your own body because everyone reacts to everything differently. So you're figuring out your
right,
own self at the same time.
right. Hello?
Now I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. You just
Okay,
I don't
I
see your
got a phone call
screen.
too. So no, I had gotten a phone call.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure you can still hear me.
All right, no
Um,
problem.
but now I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so it's I don't think it's something that you lose. I don't think it's a matter of like, especially when you're like when you love it as much as I do, like
Right,
you don't forget. You know, and
right,
then it's also my life. I'm trying to teach I'm trying to apply it to other people to show them how it can work for them. But obviously everyone's scenario is different. Not everyone is a competitor.
right,
Most people are just trying to be fit and healthy.
right.
So
Yeah,
like they don't necessarily need to do they need to do the basics, but they don't need to go to the length that I'm going.
right,
You know? So it's not even really retaining anymore. It's just like you know it. And then in my case, I'm applying it to my clients. So
right,
I live it. It's just my life.
right. Yeah,
And then
because
like the longer you do it, the more of a habit it becomes for yourself, and you don't know another way to live.
right, right. How
Like I
long?
can't imagine all of a sudden just eating 3 meals a day. That doesn't even make sense to me.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So you don't eat. So what kind of foods you eat? Like in terms of like do you eat like stuff that you like, or you try to like because of the competition you fall back? If I can
No,
ask you.
you have to like once you're in prep, you just follow what your plan says and that's it. There's no question. You just do whatever it is that your plan is, you just follow the
Mhm.
plan. I am fortunate that I happen to like all my meals.
Yeah.
Um, but there's some meals that are less satisfying than others, like
Right.
the meals that don't have carbs in it.
Right.
Those are less satisfying, obviously, right? So, but I mean, I don't dislike any of my meals. It just most people have a problem with eating the same thing over and over and over and over again. Like I've literally eaten the same thing for the past 4 months. I
Right.
have not had anything in addition to. Most people
Right.
can't do.
Yeah. That's a discipline. I mean, like you
Mm-hmm.
just I know I can't do it. I mean, I worked out, but it's like I remember I tried to be a vegetarian, and I got used to it. But the thing was, I was getting really skinny, and it's in itself, and even itself, it still was a discipline because there was things I didn't know. You know.
Right, of course. Yeah, because even like going to the gym for an average person and making that part of your day, it's still a discipline, right?
Right.
It still has to become part of your routine.
So how often do you like how many days you hit the gym, like if I could ask that question?
Yeah, of course. So it depends. Usually 6.
Oh, 6? Wow.
Yeah,
So you don't keep
but
it
it's
like
fine
a
by me. It's my favorite time of the day. What?
yeah. So you don't keep it like say like a Saturday, you do like an intensive workout, and then the next day, Sunday, you just keep it like short and like not like less intense, if I could ask.
No, I try to train as intense as I can, as much as I can. When you're in prep, though, you just don't have as much energy. So, like, not every day is going to be like this amazing workout, you know, but you still go in and you still do what you can. And you still push yourself. It's just relative to like where you are as far as prep or not being in prep. When you're not in prep, usually like you have a lot more energy. I'm fortunate this time I am prepping and I still have a ton of energy. So most of my workouts, I probably have had like maybe 2 not so great workouts in the past 3 months. Everything else has been pretty intense every time. But getting enough rest in between is obviously important too. So I hit it 6 days a week, but I'm obviously spreading out the muscle groups. So I'm not hitting back and then I'm not doing back again in 2 days. I'm hitting back and then at least waiting like 4 days before I do it again. So I'm giving everything enough time in between, and then I take a rest day a week too.
Yeah, I was looking at
I'm off from everything.
Yeah, I was looking at your Instagram. I mean, I like how toned you are, like for a
Yeah.
physique competitor. You know, you have that leanness and stuff. By any chance, did you see the bodybuilding competition, the Vancouver?
I've been catching just parts of it on Instagram, but I didn't actually watch it. But I've been looking
Yeah.
at the results and whatnot just through Instagram.
What's your thoughts about it? Do you have any thoughts or?
I mean, they all looked. It seemed like it was a smaller show, as far as I can tell. I mean, I've just been like seeing the content recently, like as of today.
Yeah.
So I've been just like catching up on it now. So honestly, I don't have an honest opinion about it because I've just been seeing the pictures recently go up. So
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good because they was discussing Sherry Priami. She hit the she hit like a Olympia qualification and stuff like that. So
I did see that. I did see that she won. She looks awesome.
Yeah, she has those like these big cannons. Like I like wow. It's impressive. Like wow.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
A lot of muscle. That's for sure.
Yeah. So you don't think you're gonna move into bodybuilding, right? You're happy as physique. Okay.
Yeah. I have no desire to. I respect bodybuilding, women's bodybuilding a lot. It's just for me, I don't wanna. I like it where I'm at. You know,
right?
Again, it's art, right? So it's my art. It's my body. So I'm only gonna make it so I like the way I look.
Right.
So at this point, it's like I'm the one who has to live in me.
Right.
It live with me for the rest of my life. So I want to look the way I want to look.
Right. How do people react to you, like in the street and stuff like that? Like they see you, or because you don't look that intimidating.
Well, I mean, it's. I feel like it's different for me just because I'm so tall on top of it.
Right.
So being tall, being a female, and being muscular, and I have a lot of tattoos. It's it probably would be intimidating, and I don't know. It's so weird because I'm used to being noticed because of my height. So I don't really pay attention to people noticing me. I just am kind of like going about my business because I've been tall my whole life, so people noticing me isn't like weird. I obviously know that now they notice me because I'm tall and muscular. But I just don't think of it because I'm living in my, like, it's me. I'm just just doing my thing, you know. I'm not like paying attention to what how people are reacting to me. But I can definitely see why people would be intimidated. I think people are probably surprised when they realize how nice I actually am. And I make it a point, and I just am. I'm a friendly person anyway. I mean, I'm not like going around like talking to every stranger on the street, but like if I'm at like a store, I'll talk to like the cashier or whatever. I'm friendly enough, you know. So I think that at least helps with the intimidation, but it also probably like surprises people that I am as nice as I am. So
yeah. I mean, I've it seemed like the female bodybuilding community, it's kind of lukewarm. You got some are nice, some ain't.
Yeah.
So some I'm not going to even go there, but but I think like with people like intimidation, they don't. It's hard to kind of fathom a woman with muscles because it was kind of traditional. You didn't really see that too much.
Right.
So
Especially
but
like the caliber that it is today. There's some girls out there with a ton of muscle, a
yeah,
ton.
yeah,
It's impressive even for someone who does it. I'm like, damn. you know,
yeah,
sometimes you see these people in person, the females, and it's like, wow, like it's so crazy because I know what I do just to look like this
right.
and how much work it takes just to look like this. Like to go to that level, that's like something else.
Mm,
So
yeah, yeah. It's very impressive. But I noticed that you do like you do photo shoots and stuff.
yes,
Um,
yes.
what
Trying to
like
have fun, be in shape.
yeah? Do you have like any particular photographer that you like working with or?
Yeah, so there's a couple that I use on a regular basis. One of the girls, her name's Stacy Smith. She's from around here, Rhode Island.
Mm,
Another one I use his name is Chris Cannon. He's local too. He's in Mass. And then I usually switch off. I actually had my local gym, my regular gym, the one I go to all the time out in Fall River. It's called General Fitness. They have a kid that does all their marketing for them. So last year I did a photo shoot for them with all like their gear and whatnot. This year I have a couple other photographers. I have one from New York that I'm working with, and then somebody. Actually, I'm not sure where he's from, but he's going to be at the New York Pro. So I have one scheduled with him after the New York Pro, so that next day, which is end of May. So got a couple more coming. I actually have one this Saturday. Then one after the New York Pro, the 1 week after that, and then do I have one more? Yeah, so I have those 3 coming. So I'm excited about that. Gotta document when you're in shape.
Oh, so it's like is it like a mandatory thing as a
No.
bodybuilder, or you just do it? Oh, okay.
I do it because I like it.
No, no, you look nice. You look nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think it adds like a different element to it. It's not just always getting on stage and flexing. It's
right.
like there's and again, it's the art that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So photography is art. So now it gets combined, like the art that I've made with art and the vision of somebody else. The collaboration is what I like. So
right. That's good. I mean, I had like dreams of doing photography with a female bodybuilder, but that's another story. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, there's a lot of schmoes out there. Where I ain't no schmo, but I would say I would call myself a female, but I'm female admirer. I like women. They don't have to be muscular. They don't have,
yeah.
they don't have to. Yeah, different. If I like it, I like it.
Right.
That's all. What else? Something I forgot. Was there anything else? I'm sorry. I did. I had a thought and it just popped up.
It happens to me all the time. I understand.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, what's the body part do you like working out the most? I think it's your shoulders, or.
Yeah. So tied for first. I like training back, shoulders, and legs.
Mm.
Yeah. Those are definitely my 3 favorites. I would say that like the one that never gets old to me is shoulders. I love training shoulders.
No. What is it that you need to improve on if I got?
I would just say that I would say my lat width is definitely the top thing.
Right.
Width. So my back gets detailed. It's just like the width is my struggle, and again, it's all that to do with like my structure and how tall I am. But that's definitely the area that I need to bring up the most. I would say that everything probably needs like a little bit more size overall, but I would say the back width is definitely the main one.
Oh, okay. All right. I think that's about it. All right. I appreciate you giving me your time.
Yeah, of course. It was fun.
All right. Yeah, no doubt.
Thanks
I'll
for having
follow
me.
you on. Yeah, I'll follow you on Instagram more. You know.
Yes. Stay. Keep yourself posted.
Yeah. One more question, like on like how do you like what's like what place do you think what do you know what the judges look for like in terms of physique and stuff like that, or I don't know,
Well, it's
just
supposed to be, I mean, a level of muscularity, obviously, condition, symmetry, poise, structure. That's the main for my class. That's the main things that they're looking for. But then also there needs to be like a difference between bodybuilding and women's physique. So I think that if you're too heavily muscled, then it might work against you. But I guess it also depends on like who's judging, right? So it's a very subjective sport, so it's hard to tell. I would like there to be a more clear difference of women's bodybuilding and women's physique. I think that the line is getting a little bit blurred,
right.
but it's still. I'm just going to continue training and continue to build what I want to look like.
How do you do you how do you think with like in years to come like it can be more popular? Because at one point it it ain't it been a long time. You don't see it that much. I remember it was to a point where in the 80s, 90s, it was very popular. Well, not very popular, but it was getting there. It was on TV and stuff like that.
Well, now
Yeah,
they do the live streams and whatnot. Now we have Instagram too, so the social media definitely makes it more popular, and that's why like the gyms are the way they are now with people with their tripods and things like that. Um, but I personally don't want it to be like basketball or football. Like I like the fact
right,
that it's like a specific group of people that do it. I don't want everyone to think that they can just like come in and do whatever.
mm.
So it's not,
That's
to me, it's not about. I think the social media has definitely made it more popular, but I never want it to be just like everything else because it is so unique and it's
right.
special. So
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you.
you're welcome.
All right.
All right.
That's it, folks.
Have a good day.
All right. You too.